Hey guys, how you going? I wanted to read this. I wanted to clarify something first. The reason why I'm wary of Trump and Q and everything is this here, this Protocols of the Illuminated Sons of the Golden Dawn. So anyone who is following Q and Trump should know this because it has come around before. Anyway, we'll get reading, and for those who don't, both sides, if you can bear with me till the end, you'll see why I'm wary. I'm wary of everything, actually. I'm a bit skeptical, maybe a bit cynical, but if you can bear with me to the end, it's going to sound great at the beginning, but wait till the end. Okay, Protocols of the Illuminated Sons of the Golden Dawn. Light supremacy. So when they say from dark to light, Protocol 1. Gaslighting the media. The Russian collusion investigation is the quintessential example of this principle of not only allowing but encouraging the media to spin their delusional narrative. The deep state is tempted into believing that their narrative will be used to undermine popular opinion of the president in preparation for his impeachment, Plan A. If impeachment fails, the groundwork will have been laid for public acceptance, if not relief, at his assassination, Plan B. This delusion about their Russian collusion conspiracy theory narrative is to be encouraged whenever possible. Number 2, the primary purpose of gaslighting the media is distraction. The time the CIA mockingbird apparatchiks spends trying to convince the public of their Russian collusion conspiracy theory is time the alliance can use to collect evidence and build airtight cases for the upcoming military tribunals. Number 3, the secondary purpose of gaslighting the media is to act as time-delayed controlled demolition of the mainstream media's reputation. The longer the delusional narrative is allowed to run, the greater the eventual damage to the MSM's credibility. Every effort must be made to allow the Trump team to appear suspicious and continue feeding the conspiracy theory suspicions while not providing anything tangible. Pardon me. Provide so much smoke that belief in the existence of a fire becomes exceedingly easy. Number 4. The tertiary purpose of gaslighting the media is to create in the agents of the deep state and their liberal stages a false sense of security. The goal is to foster a surreal, dissociative sense of cognitive dissonance, an uneasy feeling that is relieved by concluding that Trump is simply guilty and stupid. The alternative conclusion being that the entire liberal media establishment has been chasing a giant fiction while Trump prepares his retaliation. The more improbable and terrifying this possibility, the more cognitive dissonance it will create. Number 5. The false belief is so tempting that the deep state, FBI and CIA agents will march deeper into their treasonous plot to frame and impeach POTUS, further documenting their own crimes, while providing more time for the white hats to investigate their crimes. Mueller leads the big guns of the deep state fixers on a slow and steady march directly into the jaws of military justice. Bear with me, guys, because it gets very interesting near the end. Number 6, the longer the gaslighting continues, the longer Trump has to lift the country up. He has time to remove the restraints and undo the acts of sabotage done to America by the globalists, thus allowing the country to thrive, making America great again. The longer the gaslighting goes on, the greater America becomes. This drives an ever-widening gap between the delusional MSN narrative and the lived reality of Americans on Main Street. The genius of this protocol is the fact that it allows a gradual awakening of the public to the lies of the mainstream media. This steady shift continues until the public is overwhelmingly aware of the delusional plot to unseat POTUS. When the time is right and the Russian collusion farce has been thoroughly exhausted, the alliance will begin to drop the bombshell disclosures, HRC videos, etc. Protocol 2. Secure victory before firing a shot. Number 1. Victory must be secured before the first shot is fired. Indeed, there will be no shots necessary, for such an absolute victory will have been secured in the shadows. Number 2. While publicly feigning inaction and incompetence to help gaslight the media, in actuality, great action will be taken covertly. Sealed indictments will be piled steadily month after month until they reach such an absurdly high numbers that their sheer number will cause reports of them to be disbelieved and dismissed as fake news. Number 3. The diligence and discipline of the investigations will be so intense and contrast so starkly with the perceived buffoonery of the White House that its existence will be disbelieved. The fog of the gaslighting campaign will serve as a thick veil. While leaks of covert operations are prevented, they will be allowed and subtly enabled in the White House. The more leaks coming out of the White House, the better. Number 4. Deep state agents will be commandeered using their control files and the prospect of a plea deal as leverage with which to puppeteer them. These agents will leak information with such brazen abandon that it will lull the deep state into false security, while perpetuating the false image of a chaotic, disorganised, inefficient and deeply undermined White House. Number 5. Strength must be dressed up to look like weakness. Enemies who have been neutralised must be made instead to appear active. Over time, the enemies will be directed to act in increasingly absurd and unbelievable ways. Their leaks and lies will be made increasingly brazen and obvious, until it finally dawns on everyone that the whole thing is theatre. They will then begin to fathom the truth of what has really been happening behind the scenes, which is so starkly different from what has been portrayed in the theatrical version that it will take time to fully fathom and believe. Protocol 3. Weaponize the light. Disclosure. Number 1. The most powerful weapon of the Alliance is the truth. The extent of the deep state's crimes and evil depravity is matched only by the extent of the NSA and CIA surveillance capacity. Every single crime is documented, every criminal association mapped out, every conversation recorded, every bank transfer documented. We see everything. Number 2. The light is so overwhelmingly powerful that the chief concern is no longer victory. Victory was assured the moment Trump was inaugurated. The chief concern is maintaining the stability of the system while the cabal is quietly neutralised. Number 3. The light is so powerful that it cannot be released too quickly, or else it will cause unnecessary shock, panic and chaos. It must therefore be released in steady measured doses, and only after the gaslighting of the media has been allowed to run as long as possible. When the public begins to realise who the real criminals are within the FBI, DOJ and DNC, and begin to demand justice, and when the military tribunals have finished their initial fact-finding mission and the stage has been set, only then will the files and videos begin to be dropped. Number 4. Lies take time to be spun and believed, while the truth strikes like lightning. The light, therefore, has no reason to rush. The CIA Mockingbird delusion machine is allowed to take their best shot day after day, night after night, for as long as they can keep it up. The disclosure waits for the gaslighting of the media to run its full course, allowing it to overextend and exhaust itself before the major drops begin. This is akin to a superior boxer allowing his opponent to tire himself out in the first rounds. Number 5. Once begun, disclosure will proceed as rapidly as the public is capable of processing the information. The severity of the crimes in the unsealed indictments will proceed from the most simple and obvious infractions, such as mishandling classified documents and perjury, onto the increasingly serious and audacious crimes, election fraud, racketeering, conspiracy to commit murder, and high treason. In this way, the public is given time to come to terms with the criminality in a succession of revelations. Baby steps to the gallows. Protocol 4. Cut off the cabal's money. Number 1. The flow of money to the cabal is to be severed in multiple Number 1. The flow of money to the cabal is to be severed in multiple ways during the calm before the storm. Number 2. Child trafficking networks are to be busted, freeing the child slaves, arresting the procurers and traffickers. These busts are used to gather evidence and build cases against the satanic pedophile blackmail slave networks, while also cutting off one of the greatest sources of illicit funding for the cabal's operations. Number 3. Drug processing operations in Afghanistan are to be bombed and raided, while major trafficking by CIA cargo planes are to be quietly disrupted. Number 4. Organ trafficking rings are to be busted as well, as every illicit source of funding is cut. This funding attrition is used to pressure the minions and mercenaries to flip on their control structures. Having been softened by the end of easy money and faced with long prison terms, they naturally spill their guts. The greatest thing about opportunistic psychopaths is that they haven't the slightest qualms about flipping when placed under pressure. The evidence and testimony collected from these foot soldiers are collected into massive, airtight cases against the cabal higher-ups. This sets the stage for the military tribunals. Stay with me, guys. I swear to God, just stay with me. The underground bunkers and jungle retreats are raided to end their black market activities, as well as to deny safe havens for the cabal leadership. Number 6. The second to last strike on the cabal's finances will be to sign an executive order declaring a national emergency regarding human rights abuses and corruption, and giving the Treasury Department the authority to freeze and seize the bank accounts of anyone involved in such crimes. This will neutralise the majority of the cabal's wealth and force them into capitulation. Number 7. The final strike on the cabal's finances will be the crash of the financial markets. The financial contagion will start with the Deutsche Bank and the derivatives market, possibly triggered by a Chinese petro-yuan launch, but will quickly spread to every market. Safeguards will be triggered and the markets will be frozen in their freefall. This event will be used as a trigger for the martial law takedown of the cabal and the unsealing of the sealed indictments. 18,500 plus filed since October of last year. And this was 2 years ago, okay? Stay with me, guys, because this gets really, really worrying. Okay, let's go back. Part 2. This is where it really starts to get a bit disturbing. Protocol 5, topple globalist pedocracy. Number 1, the world will be united by the world order globalists, but not in the way the globalists had hoped. The nations of Earth will be united through our shared disgust and unanimous rejection of the globalist pedocracy. Number 2, as the true extent of all the crimes, lies, conspiracies, and atrocities of the satanic financial elite and their minions are brought to light, questions will naturally arise as to how such evil, corruption, and total deception was even possible. This is when the public is introduced to the reality of pedophile blackmail slave and how such mind control was used to control the media's deceptions and even to commit false flag terrorism, such as in LV. You know what I'm talking about, Vegas. Number 3, a controlled demolition of the NWO, New World Order. A total systemic collapse will be triggered through disclosure of this simple fact. The New World Order is a satanic criminal cabal of central bankers who have used pedophile blackmail slavery to infiltrate government, media, law enforcement, and intelligence agencies to create a satanic totalitarian empire of the New World Order through shadow government pedocracy. Number 4, the greatest strength of the New World Order system is transformed into their greatest weakness by simply shifting from darkness to light. By distilling control down to a select few psychopath pedophiles, the New World Order was able to concentrate their control and limit their liability. This same mechanism, however, created a concentration of criminals whose crimes have already been digitally documented by various intelligence agencies within their blackmail control files. The New World Order was designed perfectly for a controlled demolition. Number 5, the world will be united through our shared humanity, through our collective and unanimous rejection of the globalist cabal. Every country will share in the ritual of exposing and prosecuting the crimes of the cabal. Number 6, every country will be united by our collective freedom from slavery and our shared respect of each other's sovereignty. A federation of freed countries will unite in support of each other's freedom. Number 7, the political left and right will be united by the disgust with the tactics of the globalists. The left will have more deprogramming to do, for their collective empathy had been most effectively exploited by the cynical globalists and nihilist cultural Marxists. The right will feel relief, but will naturally avoid the kind of right-wing fascism of the past. Indeed, unity will emerge naturally from the disillusionment of the lifted veil. Protocol 6, Reset Global Financial System. Number 1, the global financial system will be reset at the Mar-a-Lago summit. Global sovereign debts will be collectively voided by a one-time global jubilee. In the US, the Federal Reserve will be declared unconstitutional and illegitimate, and the criminal institution will be dissolved. Number 3, the truth will be revealed about how the unconstitutional criminal institution of the Federal Reserve was able to be passed by a corrupted government. The assassinations of the Fed's biggest opponents, Guggenheim, Astor, Strauss, during the sinking of the Titanic, will be brought to light. The blackmail of Congress and the President to pass the bill illegally and without legal quorum on what would later become the exoteric satanic holiday of Festivus, 23rd of December 1913. Another rebranding of esoteric Saturnalia will be revealed. Americans will realize that while the majority of Congress was on recess celebrating Christmas, a handful of satanic pedocrats gathered in DC to pass an illegal bill to give a foreign banking cabal, the one blackmailing them, control of the US financial system. Number 4, the money printing authority in the US will be returned to the rightful constitution jurisdiction of the Treasury. The US dollar will be reset as a legitimate gold-backed currency. Number 5, all student loan debt will be voided. Debt slavery, indentured servitude through non-dischargeable student loan debt, will be made illegal again. Protocol 7, secure world peace. Number 1, peace with North Korea will be secured, with nuclear disarmament and a phased reunification of the peninsula initiated. The combination of the technological infrastructures, the South, with the cheap and disciplined labour force of the North, will combine to create an emergent economic powerhouse, which will balance and harmonise Chinese and Japanese influence in the region. Number 2, the control strings will be cut, dethroning the CIA and Rothschild controlled over North Korea. The announcement of this agreement, however, will be delayed until late spring or early summer 2018 to maximise the political impact in the US. And some of them have happened on time and some of them haven't happened on time. Bear with me, guys. Number 3, peace with Iran will be secured using a combination of irresistible economic and technological incentives to balance the implied martial pressures. The optics of the negotiation will allow both the Iranians and Trump to both save face. Trump will appear to be generous and the Iranians honoured. And I think we're just going through that one now. The issue of Israel will finally be resolved and peace finally secured in the Middle East. The precise details of this arrangement is to remain occulted for now. The word occulted being the operative word. Number 5. What can be revealed, however, is that the non-Semitic origins of the Ashkenazim will be acknowledged and their real homeland identified as Khazaria. the original plot of the Rothschilds to sacrifice the nation of Israel, which they also created via the Balfour Declaration, to fulfill their plot to trigger World War III will also be revealed. Number 6. The true Semites, Sephardic Jews of Israel, and the Muslims of Palestine will be united by the acknowledgement of their shared oppression and exploitation at the hands of the Zionists. Number 7. Both Crimea and Astana will factor in the Middle East peace agreement as alternate homelands for any non-Semitic Ashkenazi, Khazarian Jews who find the new arrangement disagreeable and decide to leave Israel. Protocol 8. Unveil occult sciences and technology. Number 1. The fall of the Cabal enables breaking the truth embargo on various scientific breakthroughs and secret technologies. Most important and spectacular among them being non-combustion propulsion systems and highly efficient clean energy technologies. These technologies have been shelved for national security because they threaten the petrodollar power structure. Number 2. The unveiling of occult energy technology is enabled by two convergent factors. 1. Solar power is beginning to eclipse oil and coal in cost effectiveness. The removal of subsidies and use of aerial spraying were only temporary delays of the inevitable rise of solar power. And 2. The petro-yuan was poised to eclipse the petrodollar. The new gold-backed dollar makes both petroleum alternatives and alternate currencies used to buy petroleum no longer threats to national security. Number 3. The unacknowledged special access programs, USAPs, will be revealed and the truth will be told about the varieties of unexplained aerial phenomena. Number 4. The breakaway civilization and its deep underground military bases, DUMBs, and the tunnel systems and high-speed maglev trains which connect them will be de-occulted. In other words, brought out into the open. The plan of the Cabal hierarchy to survive the nuclear holocaust they plan to trigger by living underground in this dumb system will be revealed. It will also be revealed that they use some of these dumbs to breed and traffic human children to feed their satanic pedocracy blackmail slavery control system, through which they exert absolute control over the world shadow government of the New World Order. Number 5. Along with the disclosure of non-combustion propulsion systems and an explanation of UAPs will be the disclosure of the real history of human space exploration. Number 6. The occulted truths will finally be revealed about our true history, the nature of consciousness, and our place in a complex and mysterious universe of higher intelligence and multidimensional existence. Protocol 9. Baptize humanity into the Golden Dawn. This is where I'm getting a bit... Number 1. The event will involve a spiritual baptism, a ritual to mark the release from all forms of bondage. The ritual marks the act of being absolved of all debts, all blackmail control files, all oaths, and all soul contracts. Number 2. Here we go. The consciousness of nearly all humans on Earth will inevitably be affected by the global financial reset, for it is an attention-concentrating and emotionally entraining event. For the first time since 9/11, the entire world will have an event of shared attention and emotion. In many ways, the consciousness of humanity will be cognitively, affectively, and connotatively entrained. You probably have never heard of connotation because it is the most occult aspect of the mind. Volition, will, spirit. We will not only be entrained in what we are thinking and feeling, but in what we are collectively desiring. Number 3. The event is a sequel to 9/11. 9/11 marked the beginning of humanity's collective and unwitting initiation into a mystery school tradition. The 17 years between 2001 and 2018 was the dark night of the soul for all of humanity, as the New World Order agenda was foisted on the world's population by the pedocracy. While petrodollar wars and opiate epidemics traumatized the globe, and the mainstream media kept us in the dark, this event will mark the end of the dark night for the soul of humanity. The truth about 9/11 will finally be brought to light as part of the overall global unveiling of the New World Order cabal and all of its many crimes against humanity. Number 4, the impact of this event may be potentiated by electromagnetic entrainment of humanity into a shared state of bliss consciousness. Do you hear that? The impact of this event may be potentiated by electromagnetic entrainment of humanity into a shared state of bliss consciousness. This phenomenon may involve a natural celestial event predicted and expected to occur, such as passing through a photon belt of highly energized cosmic rays, which will affect us all on both a conscious and molecular level, which has been predicted by many spiritualists and channelers. It's also possible that it would involve an artificial geomagnetic phenomenon in which HAARP systems and or telecom antenna are used to temporarily change the frequency of the Schumann resonance in order to entrain and induce a shared state of altered consciousness, bliss, for all of humanity. In other words, the altered consciousness induced by the event may be potentiated by natural and or artificial means. So what I gather they're expecting to do here is if the Schumann resonance does not change by going through a photon belt, that they will initiate it themselves with HAARP. On the other side, participants will pledge their allegiance to Gaia. Oh no. No, humanity and other respective nations, and the divine principles of freedom, truth, and love. Everyone is given a fresh start with the understanding that freedom and commitment to each other's freedom is the highest ideal to which everyone naturally and voluntarily commits. Oh dear God, this is going to nut. Number 6, while freedom of religion continues, all previous spiritual oaths, covenants, and contracts are voided. Number 7, usury debt, indentured servitude, and all forms of slavery and bondage, including blackmail and coercion, will be universally abolished. Secrecy will no longer be tolerated. Indeed, due to release of advanced technology, we will realize that secrecy will no longer be possible. Do you see how bad this is getting, guys? Do you understand? Number 8, in the aftermath, many Western countries will legalize drugs and all so-called vice crimes. Some activities are limited to specific areas, venues, and or states. Regulation and taxes allow for a relatively healthy assimilation of the previously black market activity into the light. Number 9, effective treatments for addiction will be made available to all, including ibogaine treatment for opiate addiction and LSD treatment for alcoholism. Both of these treatments have already been proven in scientific trial to have over 60% success rates with only one administration. The only reason why they have been kept from the general population has been the fact that the opiate epidemic and substance addiction in general has been highly lucrative to multiple factions of the cabal. I'll just let that sink in for a sec while I have a sip of my tea. But you do understand where this is going, don't you? Oh dear God. Number 10. Going forward, secular spiritual centres and temples will combine ritual ceremony, architecture, music, multimedia, PEMF, and entheogens such as microdoses of LSD and MDMA to reliably, what are they going to do? Put it in the water or something or what? To reliably produce shared altered states of higher consciousness. Old religious traditions will not be abolished but allowed to fade naturally or adapt and evolve. Except, of course, for religious traditions that involve slavery, ritual abuse, rape, and or human sacrifice. No more of that will be allowed. Number 11. The Golden Dawn is the great awakening of humanity and the beginning of the Golden Age. The nature of human consciousness will never be the same, in a way that is impossible to describe. Yet it is as inevitable as it is ineffable. We are the illuminated sons of the Golden Dawn, and these are our protocols. Do you understand what I mean and why I say I'm wary of Trump and Q and everything that's going on, but I am watching them because I want to know what's going on? Because no one will be able to escape. Whatever they're going to do with the Schumann resonance, no one will escape it. It's going to hit everybody, mate. And then, for all we know, it could wipe our memory out. We don't even know how this is going to go. And it all sounds really good, but I'm very wary of this, guys. I do hope you understand, and I can always agree to disagree with you if you don't think this is how it's going to go, but this is a worry. And I understand why people want anarchy, which is freedom from governments and everything. And I don't think that anyone should be playing with the Schumann resonance. Schumann resonance, yeah. Anyway, guys, please let me know what you think below, because this, to me, is like, oh dear. And let me know, okay? Okay, thank you very much, guys, for bearing with me and for watching or subscribing or commenting. I really appreciate every comment, even if sometimes I do take them the wrong way. Unless they're fully explained, I sometimes think people are having a go at me when they're not. Because quite a few people have had, Anyway, okay, guys. I'll talk to you soon. Might have a break for a day or two, but I shall be back. Hopefully with more updates on what's going on with the fires around Australia, and we'll see how things go. Okay, guys, don't forget to let me know. Let me know what you think about this, because I really want to know what you think. Okay? Okay, guys. Bye.